Hey, what's up? My name is PJ, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts with you about assisting for someone else and learning to work for someone else. Hope you enjoy. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been doing some assisting for a commercial photographer. It's been good. It's been really good. I've learned a lot already in a short couple of weeks, and I've been put out of my comfort zone, which is good for me because I tend to get into the same routines and habits and not stretch myself when I should. So the first thing about this is I have felt very confident in my abilities and my photography in the past, but when you're on someone else's shoot and you have to assist in someone else's style with someone else's lighting system and a whole new group of people and stylists and clients and the whole deal, you're way out of your depth. First of all, the ego, you have to lose the ego. You have to almost pretend that you're not a photographer, in my opinion, because it's not about me. It's not about my skills. It's not about even really my opinion. You have to help your photographer that you're assisting. You have to be a technician, you have to problem solve, you have to facilitate what they want. And often you have to do it before you're even told, or sometimes before the photographer even knows what they want. You have to anticipate it. That's really hard, especially if you're not familiar with the person. In this situation, I've been assisting a gentleman called Jared. He's one of the most hardworking photographers that I've met, right? He hustles and he does so many different types of work. My mind has been opened. I've been very strictly a music photographer because I work a retail job as well. And if I was going to do jobs that I wasn't really passionate about, I'd rather just, pick up a shift on the weekend at my retail job rather than go and shoot an event or a real estate job or something, But this guy, Jared, he has got his finger in so many different pies, so to speak, and his range of skills are so diverse. To be honest, that's opened my eyes. Anyway, I've been working for Jared. We've done a couple of corporate portraits. We've done some commercial jobs as well. He does a lot of commercial real estate, and learning how his system works and his equipment it's honestly been really good for me. I've done 5 or 6 shoots with him so far, I'm pretty sure. And he uses, for example, like a Bowen's lighting kit, which I've never used before. It's been good. To be honest, the hardest part is just knowing your place on a shoot. So knowing when to talk, when not to talk, knowing when to just grab a broom and start sweeping. Because on one hand, I want to look busy all the time and I want to be busy all the time. I don't want to be standing around on a shoot. But on the other hand, I also know that I have to be ready and waiting if instructions come from Jared or someone else on set. It's really weird because a lot of the time, if it's a bit of a slow period on a shoot, you're kind of in limbo. Like I said, you want to do something, you want to run and grab a coffee for someone, or you want to help build a set or sweep the floor or something. But if the photographer calls on you, if I have instruction to grab a polyboard or block some flare or set up a softbox or something, I need to be there to do it at the time. So that whole thing comes down to comfort and knowing the person and knowing the crew. The best thing that I can say from this short time assisting, and I've only done sort of 3 days on a job with other people involved as well, where it's not just me and Jared. But the best thing that I've kind of realized is you need to get to know the entire production as quickly as possible. So I'll give you an example. If you're working on someone else's set, you need to make sure the first day you go up and shake the hand of the stylist and the stylist assistant and the builders who are building the sets and the client and the photographer and the studio manager. Get to know as best you can everyone else, because that's going to make your life a whole lot easier. Second of all, the equipment is very important. It's annoying, but you need to ask lots of questions and then you need to learn quickly. So if you ask a question, for example, I wasn't sure how to set up Jared's softboxes. They were the ones with the sort of like bendy cables. They weren't just the pop-up ones like I used. And to put them up and pack them down, there's actually a technique to it. And I also didn't want to stuff it up or damage them. So if I get Jared to show me, I need to make sure that I take note and learn how to do it in one go, so I'm not asking again and again and again, because at that point I'm a liability. And to be honest, that's why I've never really used an assistant for my own shoots. First of all, my shoots have a smaller budget. You know, for a $300 or $400 shoot, it's not worth paying someone a half day or a day rate to come along and work for me and take away from the bottom line. The other reason is my budgets are small. I use speed lights and small flashes, and it's all stuff that I can carry on my own. But to be honest, mainly it's a thing of when you're on a shoot, and this is why I understand that photographers are hesitant to take someone on as an assistant for the first time. When you're on a shoot, you don't have time to be teaching people as you go. You need them to know before you know, right? Which is what I was saying before. You need to anticipate what someone wants before they want it. So yeah, that's something that's been a really good learning experience for me. And if I do need assistance, I'm definitely going to be investing time into the same person or people over and over and over again. So you build this relationship and you build this non-verbal communication that just makes everything run more smoothly, to be honest. So that's been really hard for me. Like I said, I want to be constantly doing something, but I also want to be available and ready at a moment's notice. It's also just been really good to get me out of my comfort zone. It's not just the fact of putting yourself out there and meeting new people. It's, like I said, learning new gear, learning new software, learning new systems, and even further than that, just learning tips on business and dealing with clients. One's like so small but very important thing that I've picked up already from working with Jared is the importance of fast, direct communication. So if you have an issue, if there's something you need on a set, you need to get on the phone and speak to someone immediately. In the past, my generation, myself included, we don't like talking on the phone. We send an email or a text, and we often wait a lot longer than we have to because it's uncomfortable and it feels like an inconvenience to speak to someone on the phone. Whereas when I'm working for Jared or working with Darren, who works for Jared, as soon as something comes up, they're straight on the phone, they sort it out, within 30 seconds the conversation's over and they can continue with their lives. Their cars and their mobile phone in their pocket is their mobile office all the time, and in the real world, in the commercial world, you need to act like an adult. You can't just send Facebook messages or text messages or emails. Emails are great, they have their purpose, but if you need something immediately, you need to get on the phone. That's something uncomfortable for me, but something that I'm trying to learn to do more. If I want to contact someone, pick up the phone and call them. It sounds so simple, right? But for someone of my generation, it's honestly very strange. We don't even use house phones anymore. In my home, it's like, yeah, it's 9 times out of 10 a telemarketer, so we just don't pick up the house phone unless it's like someone we know, which is ridiculous. But anyway, that's how it is. The last thing I'll say is I'm learning every single day. Every time that I assist, I get a little bit better. And that's going to help me not only with my own shooting, but it's going to help me when there comes a time if I need to assist other photographers to, expand my network or pick up some extra work here and there. It's really important to be constantly learning and evolving. And sometimes when you shoot yourself, you do the same things over and over and over again, and it might work, but you don't grow. I know that's certainly evident in what I do. Every single day, I'm learning new things about lighting. I'm learning just the process and becoming more familiar with it. So now I would feel so much more comfortable if I got a call up for another photographer and had to go and assist them for a day. That's honestly what put me off assisting in the past, is that I had done it for 5 or 6 different photographers. I'd just been kind of a fill-in through a studio that I had helped out a little bit. I'd been a fill-in whenever someone needed an assistant. So I would jump in the car, get down there, and I'd help out for a day on set. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but it was uncomfortable. It goes back to a few things that I said already. Not knowing the people, not being comfortable, not being able to predict, and a lot of standing around as well. That's what's uncomfortable, but the more I do it, the more I learn about Jared's processes, the more I realize things that a photographer might think of that I wouldn't have thought of in the past, and the more that I know that those skills will transfer to other people. Getting uncomfortable is something so important that I've come to realize the older I get. I don't know whose quote it is, but there's a fantastic quote saying, success in a man is the measure, I can't remember the quote exactly. It's something like, you can measure the success of a man by the amount of uncomfortable conversations he's willing to have. I honestly think practicing being uncomfortable is one of the best things you can do, not just in photography, but in life in general. If you're comfortable with discomfort, you are head and shoulders above the rest of the universe, because everyone just wants to sit in their routine and in their little cloud, in their little cocoon, and just not leave that. So practicing discomfort is something I want to do a lot more of. That's about all I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's going to be, as soon as I click the record button, as soon as I turn it off, there's going to be a million things that I've forgotten to say. But basically, I'm learning every day and improving, and it's uncomfortable, but it also feels great. Oh, one last thing that I didn't add that is probably my biggest weakness. You need to learn how to make coffees, or you at least need to learn how to order coffees. Personally, I don't drink coffee, so I know very little about it, but this is surprisingly a very important and common thing for an assistant, to either make coffees or do 3 or 4 coffee runs in a day. That's not unusual, to be honest. So that's one weakness that I have. If you drink coffees and you love coffees, and especially if you can make coffee with a proper coffee machine, that's a really, really good skill to have as an assistant. So yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been uncomfortable, but I've been growing at the same time. Networking, it's fantastic for networking because everybody on the set has their own little thing that they have with other people. So I know that the better I get, the more useful I'll become, not just as a well-rounded photographer, but I'll be useful to other people if I need to be as well. That's it for my assisting brain dump. I highly recommend it if you can get in assisting with someone. If you can offer someone to assist for them for free, that might be a better scenario, because it means you can learn without the pressure of having to perform and be paid. If you can do a couple of, unpaid sessions just to learn how to assist, I would highly recommend it. I'm considering doing some more of that myself if the work isn't coming in the way that I want to. But yeah, it's uncomfortable, but fantastic. And I'm learning and growing, and I'm going to do it as much as I can in the next few months. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for sticking with it. This has been a really rambly, weird brain dump for me, but I kind of enjoy it, just turning on the camera, clicking record, and just talking at the lens. It's kind of good practice anyway. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you learned something, give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.